there. So, today, guys, we really wanted to focus on, every mastermind's focusing on conversion, right? It's really focused on their lead conversion. And just want to let you know, Steve has talked about opening another ad tweets class for you guys. So there's a lot of people that want to work, hey, we've got 30 different funnel templates, or I don't know how many are in there at this point. And we all obviously focus on the seller conversion template because it just works, right? It's got a really great click to contact ratio. Usually you can split test that and really dive into that funnel pretty good. But there's other ones, right? And there's other ones to take a look at. There's the equity side of the conversion. And then there's the seller side on the very bottom. So I would be curious to see if any of you, before we get into the conversion topic, have you guys been experimenting a little bit with any of the funnels and trying any other property or home value style funnels, equity style, or even the one on the bottom right? You know what I'm talking about, Logan? Which one's that one with the picture? What is it called? I guess I can go into someone's dashboard here.
If it's just the equity one, it's the second row right underneath the typical seller one, or do you want the one with the home further down then?
The one with the further, yeah. Let me just go into.
Yeah, that one just says, what's your home really worth?
What's your home really worth? Enter your address. Yeah, I'm going to go into, because the cool thing is you don't have to use the image of the map, but we might just prove to you that the map still works the best. But the key with that is you split test it like you would anything else. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean in here. I'm going to go into an account real quickly.
I'm running one with a custom, one of my houses that I sold on there, and I'm still running the maps, and I'm actually getting decent response out of both. So, but I'm running for different areas, so I'm just letting it go.
Okay, so the one I'm talking about, okay, so for everybody that has a full account, most of you still run the seller property valuation conversion, and for obvious reasons, it's always produces the best. And obviously you have almost 8,600 people currently actively using this one across North America. But I've seen some really good results with people that test the seller equity ad conversion the same way. Okay, very similar numbers, and sometimes even better if you're working it. Obviously, with 200 active people using it, it's not nearly the 8,600, but I think it's because there's not enough testing. That number could definitely be drawn down on that side. So just so you know, it is the same one underneath it, and it's a little bit different take on verbiage. And then the last one I would actually play around with if I were you guys, based on what I'm seeing out there, is the what's your home really worth? Okay. I like it because you can put any image you want and test it. But now I've actually seen people take images that are just more, not even a home, just a local landmark in the area, and it works. So it's just basically saying, what's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value. So it's a really simple, easy call to action. But you can easily take one of your own images. Like, for example, this is Stacy's account where it says Sunny and Bend. What's your home really worth? That's a really beautiful image with the mountain in the background. That's something you could test out. So just so you know, this is going to be more contingent on, I think, what's going to really draw them in to feel like you're speaking to them. And it doesn't always have to be a home. It doesn't have to always be a map, but you have to go test it, just like you do the test the buyer side. Any questions on that one, guys? Has anyone had success with that or even tried it? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, I told you, Marcus, I'm running it on one. I've got one of my listings, a high def picture put in there, and that's the one for what's my home really worth that I run. And then I still am running the maps on a couple.
Cool. And you want to be really focused on just, again, testing. Like, we all have to become somewhat of an account manager when we're doing the StreetText side, because if you just let it ad continue, I was talking to Steve Skeet the other day, and he's just let an ad continue for months without checking in. He's like, why is my cost per lead this? I'm like, well, if you just let Facebook spend, it's just going to spend. And eventually your cost per lead is going to be your cost per lead no matter what. So if you don't monitor it, unfortunately, Facebook's not going to do anything to change that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to check in periodically regardless, but I mean, I would say at least once a week, at least get in there and see what you've spent. I mean, hopefully you're following up with all those leads and doing everything within your dashboard anyways, but regardless of, even if you have this connected to another CRM, which I know a lot of you do make sure that you're monitoring your ad spend, what's happening, lead cost at least once a week so that you can see any spikes. I mean, Facebook changes. The algorithm changes, things shift. And if you're not on top of that, that's what happens. And I was looking at Steve's account as well. And unfortunately, yeah, his spend steamrolled on him, and he had one ad that still performed phenomenally well, one that wasn't doing so well. So all he had to do is pause that one, and he wouldn't have, blown so much of his budget. But that's kind of that's what happens if you're not watching it. So at least once a week, make sure you're monitoring your ad costs.
Well, I mean, if you're logging into your account every day, you should just look at your ad manager, because it's a simple click into the ads section, and it's going to show you lifetime versus last 7 days, right? And you kind of want to draw between those two parallels. And again, I would also make sure you're actively, best practices would be viewing your ad, because you don't want to miss out if people are liking it, commenting on it. Like kind of you guys, for some of you that weren't here earlier, Leon was on here talking about a, troll. That was making some comments, and you kill them with kindness. You try to ask them questions. You try to steer that conversation as much as possible. But at some point, sometimes you just gotta block them, because that's who people are. You can't stop people from being some of these people are just Debbie the Downers, unfortunately. So that's, we work in the wild, wild west, and that's Facebook for you. Okay. But always try to create interaction in your ad. So, one of the main reasons why we use the reuse ad is because a lot of people want to keep that social interaction, and they do end up reusing that ad. So that's a feature with a full account that you can use as a reuse ad to take all that social interaction and post it back. Hey, Stacy, I like your background. How is that part through Zoom that you chose that background? Where are you at?
Unmute. Yeah, I just signed up for it and I found it. It's pretty cool, right?
It's cool, right? Yeah. So with Zoom,
that's my photo. Yeah.
I love it. So I got to do something like that. Maybe with this StreetText. I'm going to steal your background, Troy. Can I take your background, Troy? So how's it been, Stacy? What's been going on with all the, I see a lot of activity in that group. My goal with you and for everybody here is to kind of pull that all together and organize it, so you have your process from top to bottom. Sound like a plan? But what have you been finding? And this is for you. George is here. Hey, good to see you, George. Leon, and anybody else for that matter that have been here with us for a while. What have you been finding for you guys in terms of your process has been the best way to get a dialogue started with a lead? What question?
The follow-up is still what's key. I've sat there and with HomeBot tied in, it's made it so much easier to free up my time that I'm not worry about getting CMAs out. And when I go in there and I look and I see the daily activity, I can reach right out to them. And when I see someone's been there 2 or 3 or 4 times, that they're active, go get them. I always say, go from most to least. So I'll go in there and I'll look and make sure that their digest is updated. I don't do any CRMs right off the bat. I wait till I get activity. So I'll go ahead and I do a quick update in there. I go ahead, I update it, I send it out to them. And then if I have a phone number, I'll send them a text, or I'll just email them directly, just saying, hey, it's Leon from the Premier Houses team. Just sent you an updated, value on your home. Let me know if you have any questions, and get it going back and forth. It's just, like I said, even the yes, no question always works. So your process is you're gonna get them something of value first, and then ask them if they received it. Yep. So checking back in to ask if they received it. That's your process. Yeah, and when they respond, it's like I said, you're looking at them anything that tracks anything for you. That's the other value, that when you look at a bomb, you're seeing activity, and they open stuff. So by sending them an email, I know if they've opened it. But I know that a text is the #1 response. So if you text an email to a person, letting them know that you just updated the evaluation, the curiosity factor is enough to make them go look. And then when you look in HomeBot and see that they opened it, it's funny to watch them go play around in there. Because I had a couple people have been sitting in there. I'm almost 1,000 people loaded in there. So my goal is at least 10 a day that I interact or do something with. So when I go in there, and even on HomeBot, it'll tell you the most active people. When I get that thing in there, I hit the most active people, I go through it, look at it, update stuff, and just try to get a yes, no question going. And I'm just working sellers.
Makes sense. I had a question from Thomas. I don't know if anyone wants to answer this one. He said, how long do others keep them in chat? I think you meant HomeBot with no activity before you remove them. Do you mean HomeBot, Thomas, or do you mean chatbot, or were you thinking about Julie? Maybe clarify that for us.
Yes, HomeBot. I mistyped.
Okay. So he said, how long do you, and Thomas, now you could, you could just ask that question just like that. So good job. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
I didn't want to interrupt him.
Oh, well, now you're not interrupting him. Go ahead.
When you put somebody in the HomeBot from the leads and they get their market analysis and you try to follow up with them, how long do most of you leave them in the HomeBot before you just move on and consider them dripped out?
Forever. Here's the thing about automation. I always say this: if you don't have your own assistant, you are one. And even though I have an assistant, there's things where you just need to respond to. So if you have a system that'll constantly drip to them, people don't get up today and go, I'm going to sell my house, let's do this. So even in like my StreetText, starting there, they're on a 9-month drip because it's going to take a while to get a response. And the thing is, you know, you sit here and have heard Stephanie say this before. Her follow-up got her responses, and the follow-up took a while. So if I have a system that's going to hit somebody constantly over the period of time, you're talking 6 to 10 touches, minimum of I'd say 4 to 6 months to get a good response. So if I've got StreetText hitting out, excuse me 1 minute, hot chocolate with a shot of toasted marshmallow too. But if I have a system, bear with me, if I have a system that's already taking care of it, getting out to them, why ever stop it? Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is they're going to come in at some time or another. We don't know their schedule. We don't know their life. They're a night shift worker, day shift worker. They might be just starting to get the process. I went to an appointment yesterday, got a $610,000 listing, and that was a 4-month process on that one. So if I have a system set in there that's reaching out to them, the secret is you have to know when to break in and be interactive back to the people that are reaching out to you. So, you know, when Marcus says lowest hanging fruit on the tree, I kind of laugh. Don't ever forget about the fruit at the top of the tree, because eventually that fruit gets heavy and it can, you know, it can be plucked too. But the secret behind HomeBot, the secret behind the long-term valuation of StreetText, I use Lion Desk, is if the drips are going out to people, the only crime is if you don't respond when they're responding to you. So what you do is just leave them in there, set it and forget it. And I hate to say forget it because you don't forget it, but just to make sure that when they respond to you, that you get back to them. You know, speed the lead, speed the relationship, whatever you want to call it. But it's working for you, not against you, to leave them in there long term.
Can I answer your question, Thomas?
It did.
Perfect.
Answered my question too. I was wondering, Leon, if you were just sitting in your driveway in your car to look busy there, but obviously with the
No, but I'm gonna tell you what, that is a very good idea. The only thing, you know, I always say, never appear too busy that people think you're too busy for them. But the fact that if you're just standing around doing what we call the mill around check, you're not gonna get nowhere. If you have something going on where people feel that you're doing something, I always say you can be as big or as little as you want to be on the internet. So make yourself look like a giant amongst ants, always.
one for anybody who missed last week, I think it was
Colin.
It was Colin, yeah, was mentioning same thing. He gets a call, and when he's gonna record his video, he gets in his car, backs it out the driveway, and he films it from the car, because same thing. It's exactly like you just mentioned, Leon. You're busy. You're so busy that you don't have time for yourself, but you always have time for your clients. And that is the case too. I mean, I always make time for my clients whenever possible. It's what you have to do, right? But at the same time, yeah, it's nice to be able to highlight the fact that you're always on the go.
Totally agree.
One thing I want to add to that question is, like, how long do you keep them in and everything else? And I think Marcus might have commented on something. You know, a lot of buyers and sellers, I just had, or I have on Saturday, a buyer that's finally coming to buy a home, hopefully on Saturday. They're flying in from up north, Ohio, I believe. They've been on my website 1,098 days before they actually called me and said, George, you're my guy. I'm flying down for 7 days. We're looking at a couple places up the coast, and we're starting in Naples. Perfect. I'm going to club them over the head like a baby seal, joking around when I say that, and show them why they should buy in Naples. Same thing I did in December for the people in Chicago. And you have to understand, it's the long game. Like, a lot of agents don't understand. You got to freaking shove that funnel, jam pack it with all those marbles, because when they come out, they come out. And, you know, sometimes I always say, it's like we're at air traffic control, and we got a ton of planes, and we have to control the madness and try and make sure they all land safely and everything else. So, and as far as the home bot, who cares? Throw them in there for a year and a half. Like Leon was saying, dude, it's not costing you anything additional. Like, for every 500 clients that you have on HomeBot, which, guys, I love. I've had only a 1% unsubscribe rate so far. Now, granted, that's just over around 300 addresses. I'm still importing manually because I don't want to be overwhelmed. But for every 500 contacts, it's $10. That's it. It's cheap.
Makes sense. Okay, so I want to get some examples of some of you guys' automations to see the process. Stacy, you've been making some changes. I'm kind of looking in your actual automation right now, starting with the seller side, because that's where most of us are here for. Do you mind if I share that one? I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So here you go. It all comes down to, I think, truly recognizing and measuring that first email being sent out. Remember, we always talk about it in this attention economy that we live in. You got seconds to get someone's attention. So if they know that they're going to go to their inbox to figure out what this home value process is all about, what is in that individual inbox that's going to stand out? And so in this case, is this how recently, maybe Stacey, you can walk me through this one as we're talking about it. Did you just recently change this one? This is
all I added was the schedule now to my messenger, and then I changed it a while ago. I really like the thing too, because people think they already got a message. It always fools me.
Yeah. Oh, the RE. Yeah, I like that too. Okay, so you're putting the subject line is RE. Congrats on your property Facebook home valuation submission. This yellow now is basically saying, it's the email will say, hi, Marcus, congrats, I received your request for the property valuation of, pulls in the address. I'll review the information provided and begin working on your property valuation shortly. It'll be a personal website on your home to keep track of value. HomeBot is the name. Want to talk now? Let's chat live. Schedule now. In the meantime, if you have any questions, concern, or provide information about your home, please feel free to contact me anytime by text, phone, or email. A quick introduction video from me. Yeah?
Looks like a typo there. You might want to take care of that.
I saw that too. Are you looking at the chat? That one? Got it. I fixed you.
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy, we got a question for you.
That
Sure.
video that you have in there, is that an evergreen video?
It is. I'm gonna go test it. All of them should be an evergreen, similar to what you look at the way Lori's has her set up. It's the same type of thing. In this case, she goes, I like the little setup here. You always, if you remember the Bomb webinar we did in December, it's always context first, because you never know if they're gonna get that or be able to play that right there in that spot. So you'll want a little bit of context on the top, the video, and then a call to action just below the video is usually best practices. But in this case, she's going directly to her Facebook Messenger because she wants the connection there. Stacy, in her case, she's going to her, I think, Stacy, what you have going in there, isn't that your personal business page?
It's Business Messenger.
Business Messenger. Okay, here we go. So here's what kind of it would look like as a test. So you got the schedule now. I like what you did there because it kind of stands out. So if I were to go to schedule now, it's going to go right now to your Facebook Messenger. And it's going to actually allow me to chat with you right on Messenger. So that's a cool component that you're kind of working out of. And obviously you can go in there. So then you got your information and a quick video. And I'm going to play this video for people just to kind of see what you're putting in there, and we can all talk about it together.
Hi, Stacy Sebastian with eXp Realty. I just wanted to let you know that I received your Facebook property evaluation request and I am working on it. If there's anything you'd like to share about your property, like you have a river feature or you did any recent remodels, new roof, or anything like that, that would be great. That certainly will help me, more appropriately price your property. And obviously, a more in-person evaluation is the best way to go. I do realize that you may just be doing refinance or just curious, or maybe you're looking to sell in the next 6 months or so. Either way, just let me know any details that might be able to help, and otherwise please check your email and I should have that out to you shortly. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Love it. Perfect. So do you find, and I don't know how long you've been using this particular method here with the way you change this, have you been getting any feedback on that one directly, Stacy?
I don't get as much feedback on this one as I do the HomeBot validation and the text message that goes out that I have on automation too. Okay.
So this is great. I love it. I'm wondering if there's anything particular, I mean, because if how does that fall, I guess, for you in your sequence of emails? Because what's the next piece of contact you're going to get? Is it going to be a personal thing you're sending out, or are you going to wait till the next one that goes out here? I think you've changed it into a day 5 email. What's next in that correspondence with them?
Let me open up my sheet here because I don't have it all on my brain. So after they get, that's the first email that they get. And then we have 5 days to get it into KV Core so that it starts to drip there. So at least I know I have 5 days. So if I'm busy or if I'm on showings or something, and then if we have a number we call first, we add to KV Core, and then we task to HomeBot, and then we put it on HomeBot right away. So that would be the next email that they would probably get, is that they were signed up on HomeBot. That happens the same day that we put them into KV Core that starts that funnel. And then we're tasked to go ahead and Facebook friend request them in the same day as well. And then day 2, I call and leave them voicemail. If I wasn't able to get them on the first day, I don't leave a voicemail the first day. And then I check to see if they looked at their HomeBot digest. If they didn't, I resend it. Just because sometimes it goes to their junk, or I'm just, hey, this is your Facebook evaluation. It's right here. So I resend it if they haven't looked at it. The next funnel would be an explanation of the HomeBot video. That would be the next thing that went out. And sorry, that goes out on day 1. So that explanation video goes out on day 1 as well of HomeBot. Just so, because they're getting it the first day, and then this is what it is the first day, and then Facebook friend requesting. So, and sorry, it doesn't always happen on the same day as the initial email because it depends on when we put them into KV Core.
Interesting. So in the first 24 hours, that first automated email goes out. Next piece would be the HomeBot explanation.
Yeah, as soon as we get them into KV Core, that funnel starts. So they don't get the HomeBot evaluation, Facebook evaluation, or the explanation of HomeBot until we put them into KV Core, and we know we have 5 days to do that. So it'll be on the same day most of the time, or sometimes it'll be the next day, but most of the time it's happening in the same day.
Perfect. So you take that information, that email that was provided, you put that into HomeBot, and then does HomeBot automatically send something out, or do you have to actually trigger it?
That's a good question. I think that you can set it up to go out the same day, and I think we have it going out the same day. I just can't remember. I changed it a while ago, but I did notice that there seems to be a delay in when it goes out. So I think I went in and changed it to go out immediately. I just can't remember if I set it up. Now you make me want to put a note in my Word document.
Perfect. Well, I'll check that. And then so you'll put them in the system, something will send out, and then another video will trigger explaining what they're looking at. So you're
yeah, that video is triggered to go out an hour later after we put them in KV Core. So after we put them in a KV Core, the explanation of HomeBot goes out an hour later.
So is that 2 or 3 contacts within that first 24 hours?
It just depends on when we put them in KV Core. But let's say how we normally function, it goes in on the same day. So on the same day, they're getting the StreetText email, they're getting the HomeBot invite that here's your Facebook evaluation, and then the video explaining how it works. So those are the 3 touches in the same day, basically.
I love it. Okay, lots of value there. And then Julie's doing her thing if they have a phone number, correct?
Yeah, and I haven't dove into Julie yet. I'm strictly focused on the funnels right now, and then I would like to dive into Julie. I haven't even touched her yet. So she's kind of running in the background, and I honestly just have not been paying attention to that. So.
Well, okay, gotcha. Maybe if you create and customize it to sync up with what you're already doing with HomeBot and kind of customize the script a little bit to point to what they should be looking for, that'd probably be a good way to do it. Because those are all customizable, right? And I think a lot of us forget that we can go in there and we can change the time, just like Stacy did to change from day 3 to day 5 if you wanted to. You can change the script within the SMS component. The time it's being sent, you can turn things on or off and ask questions. And if you know what your process is, then you can always point Julie back to what your process is. Does that make sense, guys? So kind of think of it this way as I get into Stacy's automations. When you go to your automations, there's a couple ways to do it. The way that the funnels work now, if you go to funnels, is you can actually go to My Funnels, which is showing you your current ads that are on, and just edit any one of those directly from that funnel, which is nice. So let's see, we have a lot of funnels there for you. So right now, I think you currently just have the listing one on, but if I went into here and clicked edit, you can go straight to the funnels, the time that you're setting them in, and then just go directly to these sequences. And if you just literally click on there, you can make changes from within you. So you can see there, you can turn things on or off, you can trigger things. It allows you to actually change the time frames. And then for you, Stacy, if you scroll down to the bottom for everybody here, that's where the SMS feature is of StreetText. And this is where you can go in there and work out of here. So you can see these are all triggered on throughout the week for the SMS, but you could easily start changing this up just by coming in here and reflecting what you'd want to say on that SMS that would reflect what your process already is. So always use Julie to point back to what that first email is already doing. And if you're changing your first email, then maybe you should reflect and change Julie to set up for you guys to be on the same page as a team, corresponding how you want that information to go out and what information you need. Does that make sense, guys? Pretty straightforward, but can get a little bit lost if you don't get in there, because Julie is basically your speed to lead side, but your speed to lead is only as good as how you communicate that information. In your ways, you're going to ask those age updates and renovation information, but also if you're using HomeBot, I think that's a perfect opportunity to actually have Julie play the assist game for you.
Question?
Yeah.
How do you, I'm new. How do you integrate HomeBot into the system? I signed up for HomeBot yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good question. Who wants to take that one for those using HomeBot right now?
I would suggest make sure, are you running BombBomb as well?
I will be. I have BombBomb as well. I haven't done anything.
Once you turn around and do BombBomb, and make sure you integrate that into your HomeBot as well. But basically, Stacy had said something the other week that was really cool, because make your video, go ahead and set it up in StreetText to start going out, letting them know that they're going to be getting something. And then as far as, like I say, for HomeBot, how it goes, when Marcus was showing how you can go into the system and add links and stuff like that, go ahead and I always say the yes, no question. Send out something from Julie asking if they got what you sent out to them. Because like I said, a yes, no is so simple. If they say yes, then when they say follow your flow line, it's almost like, did you have any questions? Was it accurate? Anything changed? Or if they say no, now you engage them with, okay, well, I'll go ahead and myself or one of the team. And even if you're a solo guy or girl, be a team always. You want to always come across large. So you can turn around and sit there and say, okay, well, myself or one of the team will get something out to you shortly. While I've got you real quick, any recent updates, upgrades, or remodels you feel significantly contribute to the value of the home? You're getting them engaged. People want to talk about their house. Then you go ahead and get it out to them. And then once again, it's all in the follow-up.
Do I have to manually put the addresses in HomeBot? Or do they pull it from StreetText?
It depends. I turned around. I've got almost 1,000 there now. I blasted out a couple of lists, and what I'm doing now is once a month, I'm making sure that I go back and right out of StreetText, you can do an export. But if you have a person you're working that you feel is hot, manually put them in and send it. Don't wait. I mean, you get people that are, I always say, slow to respond. You get the people that come in that are maybe address only in an email. I might look it up. I might put a name to the thing, but I try to let Julie run her whole process. When I get person that comes back in and submission number 2, they're starting to get active. And if you're actively working at the time, you want to jump on it right away, because if you wait 5 or 10 minutes, they're on another website doing something else. So if you're in there and you are able to, once they're working in the system, go ahead, get that HomeBot out to them, tell them you just sent them something, ask them to confirm they got it, then confirm that it's accurate or not. I love the fact they're wrong, because I've had a lot of people that have asked me to update the numbers because they didn't believe they were right. And I mean, it's always nice if the price was low and you come back higher. I've had a couple that were overpriced because Zillow blew them out and I had to bring them back down. But now with that said, if I have some that's lower than what the actual HomeBot that I just put out, I go in and I send them something, and I don't set up a automation for that. I'll go in and I'll be in the MLS and I'll just pull up a quick thing for the area and say, hey, I just sent you a market snapshot for the area. Look it over. Let me know if you have any questions. But once again, it's another touch. It's another engagement. And the secret is once you get them talking to you, I don't ask for anything. I let them eventually think it's their idea to ask me to do something for them.
I like it. I like it. I think what I love about what you're doing, Leon, and maybe for everybody, we can talk a little bit about is confirmation, confirming details, confirming that they receive something. Because if you send something of value, of course, you want to confirm the information. You want to ask them if they have any specific questions about that value, right? Confirmation is key on here. You don't want to just set it and forget it, send a home value and not confirm what you sent, that they received it. Because I think most people would want to ask specifically about their home. And if you can kind of, talk about how you arrived to that value and why it's not accurate and why they should meet with you, I think that's where you're going to get the appointment. George, what do you say on that, buddy? What's worked for you on that process?
All right, repeat it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're doing your thing. Just in general, we were talking, Leon likes to use the confirmation type of approach where he's just confirming that they received that home value. What's worked for you to create dialogue with those leads?
So right now what I'm doing is I touch them and I say, listen, I understand you're probably busy and everything else. I'm going to retouch you and contact you, but I'm setting up everything on my side, and let's set an appointment for 2 weeks from now. So I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. I've had 2 appointments set and 2 listing appointments where like, oh no, I'm interested in selling now. So one I just lost to another agent. It happens. Divorced couple, wife won. So, and it got listed, but another one hopefully will be online March 1st. So it's going to be another StreetText listing coming on the market. I wowed them and they basically canceled the other 2 appointments for agents. But, I basically tell everybody as soon as that lead comes in, I just reach out to them as fast as I can by phone or text. And then if they say, hey, I'm available, I call them immediately. And now what I'm doing is restructuring. As you said that, I'm working on my drips right now because it's all going around HomeBot now, the process. So. Perfect.
So does your automatic email reflect that? So that first piece, that first touch that goes out as soon as they submit their email, what's that like? What's happening?
Well, I'm remapping it now to try something different. I'm always every 30 days trying to see what I can do to be a little more successful. So basically, I'm just doing a quick little intro. I'm getting ready to record it and get my clothes on for it. And basically, I'm just going to say, listen, hey, I just received your submission. I have an awesome software that I invest a lot of money and time into, and I'm going to set you up on it. And it's called HomeBot, but it's also in the text. But if you have any questions you want to add below, I have the quick 5-minute call, just curious or refinancing. or a quick 15-minute call, understanding the selling process, detailed market snapshot, detailed breakdown of updates, upgrades, and condition to your home. So basically, I'm giving them both options, and then they could select one and set up. So far, Calendly, oh my God, for the $144, I used it, but I never used it like this since I joined StreetText. You guys have opened the higher level approaches in order to really utilize it on a high level.
I love it.
I get excited when I get the Calendly. I'm like, ooh, I got another appointment. So the other day I had 7 appointments, which was awesome. There were a lot of 5-minute calls. I've referred out 3 refinancing in the last 21 days, but so what? My lender loves me.
So maybe
Calendly's amazing. Just real quick, I think, and this is something Troy always alludes to, is essentially looking at it as the holy grail of real estate, the ability to essentially go to sleep at night, wake up in the morning and have an appointment booked. I mean, and Calendly is just one of those things. And the beauty of it is that you can time block as well, right? So if I only want to show homes Tuesday and Thursday between 2 and 4, I mean, I would go out of business, but I'm just saying, if that was my thing, I could block all the other days and times, you know, as much as I want, and just leave those slots available. So maybe I do know that I have a consistent schedule. I have appointments that I'm always going on at these times. Maybe I will just free up a couple small spots in that calendar for supplementary bookings. I know that I am going to leave that free. Done deal. People want to book. Here's the 2 or 3 times a week I have available. Absolutely.
So Logan, I'm actually redoing all mine, but on an availability snapshot of my Calendly, 7 days, only 15% of the slots in different increments are only for the 5-minute calls. So if they hover between both of them, then all of a sudden I'm trying to sway them to make the flexibility. Like I have open from 6 until 8 p.m., 5 days a week for a quick 15-minute call. Why? You have more of a sense of urgency. You might be a little more serious and qualified potential seller. I have more time for you. But yeah, I'm redoing it now. But the funny thing is I only have, I think, 9 blocks for 7 days set up for 5-minute calls. That's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're busy, right? So you want to make sure, like for me, you don't want to, even if you have all day open, you probably don't want everything always open, because as we were talking about earlier, you want to get in your car to make people, you know, see that you're busy when you're filming your videos. The same thing, if they go to your Calendly and they can book anytime, any day, there's zero urgency, right? You're obviously not that busy. You must not have enough clients. So it's the same thing. It's kind of nice to leave certain slots open for certain booking times, especially. But for anybody who's not using Calendly, most likely you've already used it when you booked with one of us, right? When you book with your coach, we use Calendly all the time. It's a phenomenal tool, and it's a great opportunity to get more bookings where they weren't there before.
It's a great opportunity to create a call to action. So if your video automation is doing the right thing and creating a discussion, what you do is you point, hey, if you click on this link below, and you know, you're explaining and walking them through it. And again, I would actually consider, if you are all using BombBomb, then you probably want to use the screen share component of BombBomb, because if you're talking about wanting them to do something, then you should have tabs open, right? And so obviously you guys use that when you do the virtual CMA, and we've talked a lot about the virtual CMA process. But what if perhaps, and I'll challenge you guys right now, that the first automated email actually is a screen recording, and helping them, for you guys using HomeBot, maybe you quickly have a HomeBot, just a flash of HomeBot, what they can look forward to and receive using the screen recording, and even perhaps your Calendly link there too. So what you're doing is you're creating the process. You're showing them what they're looking and to expect for in the corresponding emails coming out, and it kind of getting them excited for what they're going to receive. Are you following me there?
Has anybody used, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Has anybody tried to use a Facebook calendar? I was curious if there's a way to do that using the Facebook calendar for appointments. Has anybody tried that?
I think you could do that as long as you're using a recording feature of BombBomb to point how to get to that, right? I think that the art in all of this is using the video, the automations, the day 3, all that so forth. I would be a big fan of you guys using more screen recording than straight up face-to-face, because when you have the screen recording, now you're clearly showing them where that information is, what they're looking for. So you can kind of help set up what that call to action is too. It'd be hard for you really to communicate, hey, if you click on this link below, and they're like, well, what is this link? First of all, the video communicates what that link will show once they click on it, they're more likely to click on that link because there's some trust there. It's not some just random link. So that goes for your own personal Facebook, your Sonny and Ben group, all that stuff. Like you do that really well in your virtual CMAs, but perhaps there's a combination of the personal side that you can bring back to the automations with the screen recording that clearly demonstrates how you want them to receive that information. Right.
You know, when you say that's kind of funny. One of the things I showed you that before, Marcus, where I went and tried out Square, because Square is free as well. Calendly, if you use the free one, only gives you one appointment. Square gives you more than that. So in Square, I've got a buyer consultation set up, and I've got a seller one set up in there as well. But I just made a note. I'm going to go add that link into Julie for what's going out, and I'm going to start making sure I add that to my screenshots that I send out using BombBomb as well for the valuation stuff I send.
Yeah, I know Heather said Messenger on phone does not go right to Messenger. It takes you to log in if you're already logged in. I think, again, with all that is if you clearly communicate what's happening when they click on that link and you show them, they're more likely to go there. And I'm always looking for that person who will leverage Messenger as their call to action. And perhaps what they're looking for is that person to click on Messenger and answer some sort of question, even if it's a yes or no, a confirmation question, right? Like we talked about, Leon, the advantage when you get someone to say anything as far as a reply back into Messenger is you immediately have now their profile. No matter what, you don't have to go search for it anymore. You don't have to use tools like Spokio. You don't have to use tools like that Lincoln Navigator that you were talking about. It goes directly to their profile. You immediately see this person face to face, and they're more likely to accept your friend request there. But the key is, what's the art to get them to actually click on that link and submit some sort of information your way? Because that's going to be.
You got some good ideas today, Marcus. Those are good ideas. I like them.
Well, you know, I was just looking for people to test them. I'm always testing them myself. You guys got to remember with Troy, Logan, and I, and Ira, we're doing the same thing. We just have a little bit more advantage because we're obviously working with agents that are hungry for leads when they start their trial. But you guys are working with people that are hungry for a home value. So we're all trying the same thing. What's the speed to relationship component? And for me, it's always figuring out how I can get them to see me as like a human being and not some sort of robot, or, you know, whatever they thought at that moment they clicked on that ad, that was whatever that mindset is at that time. Oh, I thought it wasn't automated, or I was just curious, or whatever that is. I want to quickly make it all about the personal connection. And I want them to see me. I want them to see the personal side. I want them to see my boys, my kids. I want them to see my wife. I want to see that whole thing. So I want them to immediately put that guard down and recognize that I'm there to serve them. I'm authentic. I'm genuine. I'm not just trying to, you know, it's not a business thing. Me trying to take their business. And I think that's the key in that first automation that goes out. If it doesn't feel authentic, it's going to be hard, and you're going to constantly be backpedaling. Even if you got the best integrations and HomeBot and everything else for that matter, they'll never see you past that.
I want to throw this out there though. I got one of my agents, she calls people on Facebook creepers, because if you're a girl that looks good, I mean, you know, you can make me go, oh, if you hit me up on Facebook. I'm like, all right. But I mean, you know, I have a gal for females, it's a lot harder. And so Stacy, you said something earlier. You said you're using Facebook Business Messenger. So does that drag them into your business page?
Yeah, then I'll have access to their profile, because I mean the thing is trying to find and be a creeper on Facebook. It's hard to find some of these people. So if they're messaging you, you're no longer a creeper. They reached out to you first, and then you can friend them.
Okay, because I would rather drive them to my business page, and then not everybody's your friend. I get a lot of people that relocate, military, that goes wherever. I stay in contact with military folks because they come and go, and I get referrals. But as far as I would rather have someone run through my business page first to get a chance. You're always scrubbing and screening. Yeah. And it's easier to go ahead and have someone on your business page and let them be in there than be on your personal page and ignore, you know, it's hard to ignore stupid comments sometimes. So I'm just not one that I still believe you need a separation of personal and business sometimes. I don't put client numbers in my phone. I put them in my notes in my phone, because when I sit here, I still think I should have my little space. So my thing is to drive them over to the business page. And I'm gonna try the messenger part, Stacy, just for the business to go ahead and try to pull them over that way, because I just, like I said, I'm not friends with everybody, and some people it's a client relationship and that's all it's going to be. So, you know, they're not going to be here excited about your kid's birthday or what have you.
I agree. I know there's a separation there, and you got to look at, there's different personalities, right? Logan and I always talk about this. He's not going to do Facebook the way I do Facebook, right? You know, Stacy and I might do similar Facebook type of approach. It just depends on your personality and how you leverage your own personal Facebook. Is it going to be a CRM? Are you going to use friends lists? Or are you going to really focus on the business page? And either way, the advantage of Facebook Messenger is once you get them in there, whether it's the business side or the Facebook side, is it immediately allows you to use it as a CRM, because everything stays there. All the discussion stays there. You can use the voicemail aspect of Messenger. You can use the video side of Messenger. You can send the home value as a PDF through Messenger. You can go back there and let that see. You can see if they've actually seen it, which is another great thing. And you can always go back to it and say, oh, when's the last time I checked in with this person personally, right? So it humanizes the process in a way that I don't think anything else does. And since we're already working out of Facebook, lead generating out of Facebook, it makes sense to come full circle and to continue the conversation within Facebook, right? And that's just the way I kind of think about it in terms of what's the long-term strategy? What are the top social media influencers and realtors out there going to do that's unique and different outside of everybody else? Email is a hard play. It's a very hard play. And no matter how good your systems are and your drip email campaign is and how you work on that funnel, there's only a percentage of people that actually get there and subscribe to it and continue to see it. With Facebook, they're there every single day for more than an hour. You can track when they're home because their chat feature is lit up in green, you know they're home. So you're more likely, if you get that friend request established and you drop it in the list, you have direct control of that list now. You know if they're home, you know who's in that list, and it's easy for you to go check back in and see that last conversation you had. So I think that there's a unique blend that we have to talk about, but I think it's always trying to make sure all your automations are pointing back to that connection on Facebook, because once you have that connection there, it's your best chance to continually stay top of mind and to make it feel very personal. Whereas an automated email that goes out is as valuable as it can be. The most valuable one is always when you personally check in. That's when that personal check-in on an email seems to get the most response. It's the same thing on Facebook. It's the same thing with a text message. So when you're using Julie to check back in 3 months down the line, it's a personal check-in to that person using Julie, right? So just think about it that way in terms of how you're setting your automations for the long game, because a lot of these guys won't necessarily respond to you initially, but if you continue have all the call to actions in your automations reflecting the personal connection and where you want them to go, I think there's a good chance that that conversation will happen at some point or the other, especially if there's value in it.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus and I were speaking on this a little bit this morning, and he's very right. You know, him and I both have very different follow-up strategies, both work in their own different ways. And this goes for everybody here, is look at what's working for other people. And if you don't see yourself consistently, you know, feeling comfortable doing something or doing whatever it is they're doing, well, you're not going to continue to do that one thing all the time, but you do need to then supplement. You need to have, it's like baking a cake, right? There's many ways to bake a cake. You may use different ingredients, but you do have to have some similarities. So maybe if you're not connecting on Facebook the same way, you better be sending personalized video messages through text message. You got to still include a lot of those same kind of approaches. You have to just figure out what's going to work for you long-term so you can implement and remain consistent. And I feel that, I think he alluded to it a little bit there as well, is a blend of multiple different you know, approaches. For me, I don't live on Messenger. So I need to have everything through text message because I have my phone on me all the time, and I've chosen to keep my Facebook off my phone. You know, we're on Facebook all day long for work purposes, but as soon as I leave my office, Facebook's turned off on all my devices. So if clients are trying to reach me, I'm not going to get it till the next morning. So
that's the opposite.
And Marcus is the opposite. And that's a big downfall for me on one side of it. But it works well for me in my personal life, right? So there has to be a balance as to what you're looking to accomplish, but just know there's multiple different ways of getting it done. But you just because, oh, you know, they're always mentioning this Facebook stuff and I'm not going to do that. That doesn't mean that there's not other things that you better than do. You have to be better through text. You have to be better at other things. So there's always something to do. Just make sure that you figure out what's comfortable, what's going to work for your area, the kind of demographic you're looking to approach. You need to have a strategy from start to finish that you're able to remain consistent with, even when things get tough, because they're going to get tough. You're going to have your ups and your downs. And I feel that people who switch off of that process too early never really fully achieve the success they're trying to strive for, because what you're doing today isn't going to lead to tomorrow's success. It's success that's 2 or 3, 4 months away. So if you're shifting your approach too much too often, you'll never find what truly works. So build a system from start to finish that you know is going to work. Be consistent, and then really look at your process every 3 months or even, you know, quarterly, where you're able to look at that and say, oh, okay, here's what I was doing then. Here's what's happened with that now. What do I need to change, or am I nailing this, right? But always look at your process and be ready to review and make some changes.
Well, it's got to be what you like to do too. Like if you look at the way my Facebook's functions, like I can go to my Facebook friends, and I know, you know, and I'm constantly purging this, by the way, guys. I don't just keep anyone here on Facebook. And so it's not just like anybody, because you can have up to 5,000 people here, but I know where they all are. I can drop down and see where they are on the list. Like George, I'm on you right now, and you're in the LCA list, right? And so I know where everybody is. And I think once you understand, your Facebook is a place of influence, and you're either influencing people or they're influencing you. So you got to at some point ask yourself and see that there is potential with having all these sort of lists where I can directly go to any one of these lists that I've created. Here's my StreetText clients list, for example, and I have direct control of this feed. There's 45 people on this list. And that doesn't mean they have to be your friends too. Once you friend request them, you can drop them into a list, but now you have a centralized place where you can keep all your information, and you can go back and visit any one of these people to see the last correspondence you had. So it's this very powerful tool, but you have to actually create and take action on it, and it has to be part of your process if you're going to make it that way. And you can't do it from the business page, unfortunately, right? You can get likes and shares and stuff, but there's only the personal side can you do this particular action on friends list.
And I just remember, like, these people clicked first on StreetText. They clicked your ad. So therefore, it's kind of, in my world, free game, because they did click your ad. You're just trying to find them now so you can connect with them. And number two, I would just like to say it would be really cool if they created files for Messenger. So I could put like follow-up file, you know, saw the lead client, you know, if Facebook could create files for Messenger, I think that would be a lot easier for me. Right now, I have, you know, 50 to 100 messages that go out today on a day that go out on Messenger. And I've just figured out how to actually save it as unread, because I was clicking on them and then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find that message. So I literally yesterday by accident figured out how to save it so I can actually go back to it. So that was a major movement for me. But man, if they had files, that would definitely be awesome. But Messenger, in my opinion, and Facebook in general, it's just a way to stay in front of everybody. So if you're not staying in front of everybody and you're just an email, you're just like everybody else emailing them, and they're not seeing you. And like Marcus said, it has to be personal, and you have to be a real person, and don't think of it like you're creeping. And I know that's hard for some people to get over, but like for me, it's like, I want everybody to be on my business page. And the only way for that to happen is if they're my friend. I want them to be in my Facebook community group in Bend, because they're seeing that I'm a person too. And I also am not going to spam them in that group. That's just community. So there's a lot more things that you're doing when you are a part of Facebook and you are utilizing it for your business. And, you know, I get 50% of my business from Facebook. If you're not diving into Facebook, you're losing a lot of free business. So I would just like to be like the advocate of Facebook. So.
Yeah, you are. George, you're the perfect candidate for this too, because of how you already use your personal Facebook and the amount of videos you post on there and what you're talking about. It's a personal and a professional side of you. I know you're big into video, YouTube, and all that for that matter. So the connection for you, I think, is a massive element that you want to draw to. And that Facebook message, that personal side, I think is going to be a key component for you to drive that, what you're already doing.
Yeah, I mean, the word of advice I would tell everybody is we're in the people business and relationship business. We always talk and discuss on the StreetText Mastermind. And the thing is, I laugh because a lot of people don't understand that before I jumped into real estate, I was super private, super introverted as far as my privacy is concerned. And I always joke around and say, when I post anything business related on my personal page, a little piece of me dies, but it's something that's necessary for the house, the lifestyle, the kids. I mean, I do it for my family. And the thing is, Marcus, I have to tell, I love stalking you and your family and everything else because it shows that humanized version, and it's not all about business. I try my best not to post a lot business, but I also try and post educational stuff that then redirects people to business. And I'm getting a ton of calls. I mean, it's amazing the power of social media, not only for lead generation, but that conversion whole method behind it, because people start liking you and trusting you, and then they start rooting for you. And now my biggest mantra for 2020 is you have to pick. You got two sides. You're either going to be the struggling agent on social media or the hustling agent. And I always joke around. Now I say hustling agent, hashtag. And people like that. I've had 7 referrals in the last 14 days just from my social media presence.
George, and everybody here, you're not just a realtor, right? And I think that's the key. People need to see that part of you. That is truly authentic. That is the relatable aspect. That is, you know, what they're going to be seeing in their newsfeed every day, day in and day out, is the multiple layers of you. And I think, you know, if you just let them see the business side of you, people can quickly make an opinion.
Oh, and I do. And I share stuff from my business page to my personal page and so forth. I just do it. I kind of believe in the 80-20 rule. You know, I try and do 80% personal, jokes, entertainment stuff to, you know, keep people engaged. And my biggest thing is opening up the pathways. I don't know if a lot of you know, but Facebook only allows, you know, 3 to 7% of the people that you interact with or don't interact with to actually see. So if you have 5,000 friends, that's great, but all the pathways get shut down and you're invisible to your friends. So now what I try and do is I go down my friends list who I haven't talked to for a long time, and I just comment on their wall. Like, hey, I was just thinking about you. That's it. That opens the pathway, especially when they answer back, because all of a sudden now I'm starting to see their posts on a regular routine basis where I haven't seen anything from them for 90 or 120 days.
And that's the advantage of the list, because if you have all your people that you've ever done a transaction with in one list on Facebook, you're going to be intentional about going through that list. You're going to have a list for buyers that you're currently with. You're going to have a list with StreetText leads. You're going to have a bunch of lists, just like you guys have your list already in your CRMs. It's no different. You're going to want to know, because you'll forget about them. If you don't, you'll forget. And then because you'll constantly be thinking about the next one and the people that are on your plate right now, and you'll forget about that person that inquired a year ago.
It's all about Tom, top of mind.
Top of mind, 100%. So that's just a good discussion to have. I mean, and we're always trying to figure out how to do it. I'm always actually challenging someone to think about Messenger more often. Test it, include it in your call to action, as well as Calendly. Use your social media influence, and use the screen recording tool of BombBomb to show them what's going to happen if they click on that particular link. I wouldn't just start throwing call to actions as far as links are concerned in your email unless there's a way of showing that person what they're going to get and what they're going to see once they click on it. So the advantage of adding links into your automations is only as strong as your ability to communicate why they should click on that link and show them what they're going to click on once they, right? That's the advantage of the screen recordings. Like, hey, once you click on this link, it's going to take you here, and what we're going to do is this, and then this, and this, right? So that's the advantage of using the screen recording. You could always, if you remember with BombBomb, you always can start with yourself like this, and then you can move into the screen recording. So it's start with you, and then move into what you want them to do as far as Calendly is concerned, as far as Messenger is concerned, especially when you're doing the personal reach out, starting with the visual of their own home. That's my suggestion. And then play around with it. At the end of the day, this is what the best part about BombBomb, it is the measurable side. It's, hey, did they watch it? Did they click on any links? your metrics will show you. Exactly. It'll show you if it's opened, if the link is being clicked, and if the video is being played. And if you're getting a lot of consistent of those three things happening, you're doing the right thing. If you're not, you got to ask yourself what's happening. Like I was talking to Steve Skeet. I was talking to Steve Skeet the other day, and he was sending me a video. He's like, I'm not getting any responses. I'm like, it's collapsing. You're just sending a video. There's no context around it. You can't just send video without context on top of it and the bottom of it. So there's always best practices, because even the way it's shown in their own inbox and on their phone, there's a certain way the subject line has to be dialed in, and it's got to be convincing that it's personal. The context on top of the video itself, and what you actually put on the actual first few seconds on it with the GIF, and then the call to action. Remember, for you guys that came to that webinar with Shane, if you don't remember that BombBomb best practices, it is in our announcement section of the Insider Group, and you can revisit that. And he does have a video influencer guide that he uploaded into the file section.
What I recommend though, for people who are a little camera shy, gun shy, I put the house first, because I mean, the funny part is you're going to probably 9 times out of 10, they're going to be on their phone. So when you say shock value and they look like, what the heck, my house? And then the screen recording itself is showing up behind it. And then I lead into it past that. And when I tested it, I've had more opens when I'm sitting on their house, because that's what they're asking about in the first place. That's on the seller side. I don't really do a lot with buyers unless, if I'm replying to a buyer. But for seller leads only, if they see their house, they're like, what the heck, my house? But I'm going to start trying to add my links for the appointments and stuff like that down in the comments to go with it, and see what I get out of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to define it, measure it. You look at Donna Swansea, who's done so many deals at this point. She doesn't do Facebook like that. But she does Facebook really well. She has a question she asks every single day on Facebook, and I'm always like intrigued by what's next on there. So it's consistent. But I don't know what she does with these leads, and if they reach out to her, maybe she accepts her invite. But she's always been about email and BombBomb and a process that she sends a home value to. And it's consistent, and it's done really well for her. But she's also has a budget that's frequently $60, $70 a day. Okay. So you can't obviously, you can't compare yourself to an agent like that unless you're spending that type of money. Same thing with Misty Bruton and those heavy hitters. Like for most of us who are spending $9, $10 a day, you got to be realistic, right? You got to be realistic, but define your process before you up your budget. Don't go generating a bunch of leads you can't talk to. Right? I would actually scale that budget way down, or even turn it off completely until I've defined the process, and then let's put the budget back on, because we know what our automations are going to do, and it's going to reflect how we personally want to reach out to these people.
Well, the other thing, Marcus, is when you say spread yourself, I was telling you, since I went to the corridor setup, instead of $9 a day on one ad, why not turn around and have 2 or 3 ads that are $3 an ad, run them out, see what you get, and then increase the ad spend on that and turn off the other ones. That way you're getting what I call a measurable sample of behavior out of people. You're seeing what they're doing, and that way you're able to reach out many places rather than try one place this week, one place next week. Go get it all now. Keep the ad spend down. You're seeing the activity. You're not worried about an overspend, and then you can just increase the budget accordingly for your ad and cover more area.
Talk to Steve too. He's been doing some beta testing. He has a pretty good idea about bringing back the hyperlocal targeting in. So for zip codes that back in the day when we could focus on zip codes in hyperlocal areas, that's coming back. He's got some insight into that. He's testing in it right now. So go to his ad tweaks class, or just write an email to Steve. Say, hey, if for some of you, they're like, there's no way I can do 15 miles. I know there's people out there that like, you run in a 15-mile radius, you're going to get homes that go from 300,000 to like 50,000. I get it. So for some of you that have that problem, that's for you. I would talk to Steve and say, Steve, I want in on what's happening. He's got some insight on being able to take us back into the local targeting.
Hey, Marcus, does he record those?
He does record the ad tweaks class, yeah.
Okay, because I missed that one yesterday. I really wanted to be a part of it, but I had another appointment I had to go to.
He's gonna
Marcus, he doesn't actually record them. Just because, he's sharing people's private content on it, so he just doesn't want to. But he did say yesterday, starting next week, he's going to open up 2 times for the ad tweaks class. So there'll be 2 opportunities to jump in and get some personal attention to your ads.
And that's perfect too for exploring new ad ideas, new templates that you want. Obviously talk to them about the automations, because the key is absolutely on the test itself. And you all can find both buyer, seller, and listing ads that will crush it, but it's, will you test them? And he'll work with you on setting that up with best practices for sure. But remember, on the opposite side of that test is got to be the detailed automation too. And you can create your own automation. So that's the beauty, whether it's a lead ad or a buyer ad or a seller ad, they all can have your own custom handprint all over it. But you got to be willing to actually make that happen, right? Or else it's going to default to whatever that is. Cool. We'll be getting some more training in the academy. We're thinking about building an advanced course too. And then I'm actually working with Stacy on creating her own teachable content, given all the cool things she does, to pull it into one place. So, you know, you guys can obviously, we can have one for George, one for Leon, for all you guys, if you wanted to eventually, to have a teachable component. And then you guys pick from each other, see what's working, what's not working. Because ultimately what I'd love to do is find out all the different type of profile realtors. There's so many different types of realtors on the profile side. And we got to figure out who's a Stacy style of realtor, who's a Leon style realtor, who's a Donna Swansea type of realtor. Because in the past, we've given Donna Swansea's class away, but not everyone is going to do what Donna does, and they're not going to be comfortable with it. So you got to figure out what you're comfortable doing. Obviously, we all got to get over some discomfort because there's a little level of discomfort there, but figure out what you're more likely to do, because that enjoyable side is going to be what you're doing on a daily basis. And you got to figure out what that is. All right, guys, I know we're 10 minutes past, so we'll keep it, we'll cut it off now. But if you have anything that you want to add or for us to hit up next week, let me know, because we could always highlight someone. We could bring someone in. I can contact HomeBot. I can contact a BombBomb. I can contact a Calendly representative. I can bring in guests too. So if there's anyone that you want me to highlight or bring in as far as a best practice is concerned, let me know and I'll contact them and we can get them on a mastermind.
Have we done a Calendly? I think that would be awesome to get somebody's inner approach that works for Calendly. I don't know. I don't recall seeing one in the mastermind.
No, I don't. I don't know. That would be interesting.
I will tell you, the BombBomb one, I forgot the gentleman's name, but
Shane.
epic ideas. Yeah. That was a good one.
And the HomeBot one too, right? But that was more of an intro. So now coming full circle, maybe we bring in HomeBot again to kind of think about like what would be the best practice given this scenario that we have here, right?
How about next week, take a couple minutes. Let's take the Facebook business page and let's go ahead and for what Stacey was talking about for the messenger part of it, for the business messenger, we throw that in there because, you know, we say, let's start at the beginning. So as far as for StreetText itself, our beginning is they're in Facebook finding us on our business page. So how about we just take a couple minutes next week and maybe Stacey can throw something together with you to talk about how she's using the Facebook Messenger business part of it to integrate into the business page. And then, you know, as we say, steps from there. And, you know, that would be pretty cool because I'd be interested in that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me look into that. I'll talk a little bit with Stacey about it and I'll, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm also going to tag you, Marcus, and maybe Steven in with Chris Harden. He's a genius as far as messenger and bot and approaches. So maybe he's a good person as well, good resource, kind of like you guys got linked up with HomeBot.
Oh, maybe
go ahead.
Connect me with him.
I will.
Let's see if we can do an intro and then we can bring him on the mastermind, and especially if his expertise is on the messenger side, let's see what he can help us out with. But given, hey, business versus personal, here's our funnel. What would be the best practice to connect that person with us?
Perfect.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll talk soon. Great mastermind.
Hey, everybody have a great day.
Yeah. Talk soon.